Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Movie Monologue Talk Show, the show where I monologue about movies. I'm your host Manny, hello, and this is close to Halloween time. It's October, so I thought, well, first I have some nice decorations out there. I got Spider-Man and a pumpkin and a Pikachu right there to be in the Halloween spirit, because what sums up Halloween better than Spider-Man, a pumpkin, and Pikachu, and Rocky? Yeah, getting sidetracked. Here we go. Today's episode, because it's Halloween time, I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite Halloween films. And just to let you know, there are no spoilers for any of these films, because if you haven't seen any of these films, you should really check them out. So here we go. Number 5 is The Ring. The Ring was my first horror movie that I ever watched, and it kind of holds something special to me. The basic plot of this movie is that there is a videotape out there, and if you watch the tape, you will get a phone call that says 7 days, and basically in 7 days, you're gonna die. So Noemi Watts' character, she watches the tape, and now she has to figure out if there is a way to stop it, and how can she stop it? Yeah, the movie's a good horror film, but it's more of a mystery tied with horror elements into it. It's an interesting story and not one that you would suspect when you hear the premise of the film. The film is very gloomy in its atmosphere, which works well with the film and with the story it's trying to tell. Yeah, The Ring, it's an intriguing story, it has some good characters in it, and it can be scary when it needs to be. It can be pretty scary sometimes. Number 4 is The Thing, and this is the 1982 version of The Thing, not the 2011 prequel remake, whatever. So yeah, I had recently saw this film for the first time 2 weeks ago and really enjoyed it, obviously because it's on my list. The basic plot of the film revolves around this team in Antarctica. They're stationed in Antarctica, and there is an alien among them, and this alien can take the shape of other people or animals or whatever. They can duplicate cells, and they are among us. With this plot, it's easy to guess that this film is tension filled. The film does a really good job of setting a chilling atmosphere, figuratively and literally. And the tension builds because at any one moment, you as the audience and even people in the movie are thinking, who is the thing? And is it who we think it is, or is it someone we are not expecting at all? And there's some great moments that revolve around this concept of not knowing who they are. The plot is pretty simple, but it also ends with this great ending where you as an audience member are just at the end like, wait, what? Visually, this movie holds up, and this movie was in 1982, like I said before, but it's filled with practical effects. Now, there might be some that may be a little dated, but I just saw this movie for the first time 2 weeks ago, and I enjoyed it. And there are some really disturbing moments in this film. They weren't. This film wasn't necessarily scary with the visual aspect for me. I was more interested in how they got all of that to work. And I'm really interested to see all the behind the scenes on how they did all that. The stuff that really got me and really set me chilling was when it's just normal people standing around and you know one of them's the Thing, but you have no idea who it is. And if you need any other reason to check out The Thing, Kurt Russell's beard and his ridiculous hat. And by ridiculous, I mean awesome, and I'm going to dress up as him for Halloween sometime. I mean, you just have to. You just check it out for his hat alone, really. Number 3 is Scream. I mean, literally, I've seen this film like 8 times. I just watched it today as well. Like an hour ago, I just finished watching it. I just enjoy this film a lot. The plot of the movie may sound really simple at first because, I mean, it's a killer's loose on the town, and these teenagers are kind of trying to figure out who it is, but not really. It's more of just your basic teen slasher film. But don't let that plot draw you away from this film, because it's not what it seems. The plot's simple, but it's unique because of how they deliver this. It's hard to describe this film, but I would describe it as a spoof on slasher films and the slasher's genre of films while being a slasher film. Yeah, it's kind of confusing. The dialogue and references in this film to other horror movies and cliches, like look behind you, that kind of that sort of thing, or don't investigate the noise, don't check in the closet, Don't run up the stairs, go outside, that kind of stuff. They address that in the movie while also following those cliches, or not following those cliches. I'm not going to spoil which ones they do or don't. The characters also help add to this film and make it make it special and unique in its own way. The movie is light on the scares. It's more of a clever thriller, and it has a lot of clever moments in it, but not necessarily a scary film. So if you're expecting something scary out of this movie, don't, because it really isn't that scary. It doesn't need to be scary, because if it was, it just wouldn't fit with the tone that this movie sets, and it would just feel really out of place. What this film is really special, really unique, and there really isn't much out there like it. Number 2, Alien. The story of Alien is that there is a spaceship with a crew, and they receive a distress signal and decide to go investigate what the signal is on this planet, LV-426. Yeah, I know it because I'm a nerd on Alien. They investigate the planet and they find this ship, this crash ship that has a lot of eggs in it, and then one of the crew members gets face hugged by an alien like this and is knocked unconscious, and no one knows what that thing is or what is going to happen. Yeah, that's all I'm gonna give you for that film, because I don't want to spoil anything for you. If you know nothing about Alien, go see this movie. The movie does an excellent job at setting its atmosphere for this film. The first hour really is just establishing the mood, the tone, the atmosphere, the tension in this film, and then the last half of this film is just rolling in craziness. What makes this film so special for a lot of people, and for me as well, is that it has one of the best heroine characters of all time in Ellen Ripley. She's a smart character, a relatable character, and a survivalist, and she's so much fun to watch in this film, and how she really overcomes like these great odds that she has to face. The look of the movie, even though this movie came out in the 70s, I believe it's the 70s, it holds up. Some of the space effects don't look as good, but the interior of the spaceship looks awesome with its 1970s sci-fi futuristic stuff, with the monitors that are like that big and like big buttons and lights everywhere. It's definitely, 2015 is more high-tech than what was in Alien, but Alien, it just has this iconic look to it. If I'm talking effects here, I obviously need to address the alien itself, because holy cow, that thing is scary looking. I'm not going to go into detail or describe it to you in case you haven't seen this movie, but it looks real and it's scary. Alien is full of amazing practical effects that help build the tension and atmosphere, and the whole movie itself is wonderful. And it sets the stage for an even better sequel. My number 1 favorite horror movie of all time is also one of my favorite movies of all time, and that is Halloween. So I lost the last part of this video talking about Halloween, so I'm just going to do it right here. Why I like this film so much is it's such a small film. It has a small, simple premise of a mass killer going around killing babysitters. But the way this movie is shot, the way it's executed, the way John Carpenter shoots this film, all wraps up into this nice little perfect film that I really enjoy. The first half of this film builds up suspense, and it sets the tone throughout the movie. And it all is during the day, but at the same time, while he's doing this and while you're getting a sense of who these characters are, Michael Myers is in the background somewhere. He's in literally almost every scene in this movie in the background or something. He's always up to his little schemes. And then when it comes to nighttime in the day, or when it comes to nighttime this day, Halloween, he's still there. He's still continuing to do his little thing in the background, and the movie still continues to build its suspense and build its tension, and then it finally pays off around the last half hour of the film of these kills and stuff. But the film isn't gory in any sense. There really isn't any blood, and it's more the tension and the suspense that really creeps you out in this film. The simplest scenes are the most effective, and I don't want to give an example of any because I don't want to ruin it for you if you haven't seen this film. So you really should check this film out. Also, the way John Carpenter's music, yes, the director, his music in this film, the way it is tied into the film gives it this personality unlike any other horror film. So yeah, this film, it's short, it's simple, but I just love it for that, and it still haunts me to this day. I still can't look out a window at night without thinking of this movie, or walking down a sidewalk, or pretty much anything involving me out at night alone. That's why I love this film so much. So anyways, that's my top 5 horror films. If you have any ideas of horror films that you want on your list, put that in the comments below. And just a little side note, I haven't seen every horror film, so Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th, these films I haven't seen yet. And so next year I will update this list, or have a different list of another top 5 horror films. So the more, I'm always looking forward for new opportunities to see more of these films. So anyways, if you like this video, like it, subscribe, comment, do whatever, you do you. And anyways, this is the Movie Monologue Talk Show, the show where I monologue about movies. I'm your host, Manny. This is the Moviegoer Lobby. Bye.